Hello and welcome to Homer for Tuesday, December 4th, 2025. Today we're going to be reading between lines 298 and 310 in Book 13 of the Iliad. This is going to be a great story about them rushing into battle, the two friends. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and let's get right into it. And just as Ares, the bane of mortals, goes out to war, and with him follows Raoul, his son, mighty and fearless, who turns to flight, a warrior, even one stout of heart. These two arm themselves and go out from Thrace to join Ephuri or the great-hearted Phlegues, yet they do not listen to both sides, but give glory to one or the other. Just so did Madiones and Idomeneus, leaders of men, go out into the fight, armored in ruddy bronze. And Madiones spoke first to Idomeneus, saying, "Son of Deucalion, at what point are you eager to enter the throng? On the right of all the army, or in the center, or on the left? For I expect that in no other place have the long-haired Achaeans such need in the fighting." Amazing. Let's do it in the Greek. Hoios de botoloigosares polamon de metesi. Phobos pilos huios amacratoros kaiatarbes. Aspatos to phobes et alafron aper polemisten. Tomen arectrecas oporus catatoras eston. Amata leguas megalatoras uraratoge. Ekduanam poteron heterois idacuodos edocan. Toion meriones te cairo manaus agoian tron. Aisonnes polemon cucuruth menai aethopicalcoi. Ton cae meriones potoros pos muoton webe. O calide terra te tarmemonas cataduon homielon. Epidex iofi pantos statue anamassus. Aparista rofin pau podial pomai huto. Dao estai polemoi ocare comon to secaius. Wonderful. So, we are going once again into battle in a very shining way. We have shining bronze on us. Kekoruth menoi aithubikal. I really like this word, kekoruth menoi. Armored and ruddy, armored, interesting word, so the kurutiolos, right, I don't know, it's sort of epithet for Hector, a very similar word, kurutiolos, Hector, right, ton meriones, potoros posmuton wepe, and meriones first says this word, this muthos, right, and I think this is such an epic way of describing it. The compositional structure here is very clear from a morphological perspective. 307, Deo Kalide is the first word. 308, Epidex. And then 309, Eparist. And then 310, Deo Estai Polemoio. And actually goes a little farther. The first one there, Deo Kalide, is Deo Kalide Petar Memonas. Deo Estai Polemoio Kare. You hear the sort of verbal assonance, as the scholar of Pindar, Koichiro Itsumi, would 2007 would note, which is the fact that they parallel in this is sort of maybe an ABBA structure of the beginning of these lines. They parallel this sort of feeling in the mouth of what syllables the singer has to say. I think that's very interesting. And you have a bit of the same thing with accentuation in 298 and 300 with Ares polemon de metesi. Polemon de metesi. So you have up, right? And then metesi. So three accents. Ares polemon de metesi. And then you have the same sort of thing in line 300 at the end of that line, which is talafron aper polemisten. But of course, in polemisten, it goes up, and the punctuation is that Mittelpunkt. So we sort of leave off there. It's all just so beautifully put together, and of course, we have to look out for these lines that end with the acute accent on the end. Isn't it so perfect then that in 310, the end of the line of this section, we also have a kaius. We have it rising on the third letter. Sorry, not the third letter, the third syllable. And then also in 297, which is where we left off last time, which is the third line of this general paragraph, which follows the end of the dialogue, we also end memelos, these three words, memelos, and then polemisten, so desiring, and then warness, and then akaius, right? It really just has, I think that really frames, it's just such an excellent way of describing. Memelos is the careful play back and forth of the two warriors talking to each other about their lost spears, right? And then the polemisten is this interesting way of describing, going out to war, right? Katoros kayatorbes hespetohostopobes et lafrona per polemisten, right? What's it called? They arm themselves and they go out, right? So they're exiting and they're heading, right? And then as the two of them, right? They're two, and then they have these two options presented in the third aspect, which is the left or the right. They've been synthesized into a single bit here, right? We also have the two aspects of Ares and his friend Phobos, right? So Meriones, Idomenea, Ardes, and then Phobos, and then we have left and right. And then finally, I guess we have the overall synthesis of thinking about, there's the Thracians and the Phlegians too, which is also a pair of two. This can keep going on and on and on and on, this sort of like symmetry that we find here. But I guess I just want to end because it's very cold and I have to go inside. And by saying that I think that there's an overall synthesis into one that one gets when one compares these two populations coming together, the Phlegues or the Afurians, right? Afuri, sorry. With the synthesis of Meriones and Idomenea, the master and the helper as well, right? And like the spear aspect, you take my spear, whatever, right? And then there's also Phobos and Ardes, right? And then finally, of course, there is the left and the right of the Achaeans in the battle. And this is all the singular mission that they must go out to. Anyway, I have loved exploring these concepts with you today. My question for you is, what is the companion that you would carry into battle? What would your other half be? What a great question to ponder. Thank you so much for listening to the Homer YouTube channel today, and I look forward to sharing more lines of beautiful, epic poetry with you tomorrow. Take care and have a great one. Bye.